I had a few puns ready to do for this video's intro. Thanks for dropping by. Figured I'd drop this review for you guys. Hope you guys are having a good week and thought I'll drop in. Let's just get started with the video. Drop was directed by the man who made Happy Death Day and its sequel, as well as Freaky, Christopher Landon, and is a new movie that is out in theaters this weekend. I actually saw this a couple of days ago, but then because I was talking about The Pit yesterday, I thought I'll space things out a little bit, and so here I am talking about Drop with you guys. In this movie, you follow Violet, played by Meghann Fahy, a widowed mother who is going on a date for the first time in forever. She is going out with this photographer named Henry, played by Brandon Sklenner. And as the date commences, she starts getting some very strange messages airdropped onto her phone, eventually leading to a threat against her family, her son and her sister, and that they will be in trouble unless she kills her date. And the movie that proceeds after that is her just gridlocked in this situation, in this one location, as she's trying to figure out how to get out of it and hopefully not have anybody die in the process. Now, if you've seen those movies before, the ones I mentioned, like Happy Death Day or Freaky, then you have some notion as to what kind of a movie to expect from Christopher Landon. There is a lot of stuff going on, of course, when it comes to the horror genre and just being a very fun thriller, but there's also a sense of self-awareness and comedy to it that makes those movies quite entertaining. A lot of people have really enjoyed those efforts from him before, and I feel like Drop might have a very similar response because it belongs in that very similar category of just a really entertaining thriller. And I had a very good time watching Drop, actually. Mostly thanks to some really good performances from Meghann Fahy and Brandon Sklenner. Both of them are really good in the movie. Particularly Meghann Fahy. I think she's really great here. I haven't seen The Bold Type, the show that she was in before, but you know what I have seen is The White Lotus. And I liked her a lot in season 2 of that show, and I think she's great over here too. She was Emmy nominated for that, if I'm not mistaken, and that was well deserved. I think she does a great job over here, especially handling the situation that she's in, and it's being a high pressure situation where she can't really tell her date exactly what the hell is going on, and trying to have everything happen in a way that doesn't, create a massive fiasco of things. She does a very good job of handling that. And Brandon Sklenner as the date and having to also navigate this in some way with as little amount of detail as is present with him, I think he did a great job too. But the most important thing in this movie, in my opinion, and the thing that they do a very good job with, is the chemistry between the two. Because if this date isn't working, and we as the audience are not as invested in it, then I feel like the movie is going to fail. Because at the end of the day, you need to see why this man should be kept alive. And the two of them have a really great rapport, and both of them are very good as these characters, and the back and forth between them is very funny, and it's very charming, and it manages to keep everything going quite well. It's also very nicely directed, very brisk, intense, fast-paced stuff over here. Once you get to the restaurant and the date commences, from that point until the end, this movie moves like a bullet. It's an hour and a half long. It's not super, extended. It doesn't need to be either. And the movie understands that quite nicely. It very much keeps things to this moment of time and what's going on when it comes to this particular situation. And it keeps you locked in for pretty much the entirety of it. It's also very well shot. There's some really good cinematography over here. Some great tricks that are being done with the camera, especially when it comes to displaying certain things. In this case, because there's so much happening on Violet's phone and there's stuff that she is seeing and she's responding to, there's a very clever way they've shown all of the texts and images or security cam footage that she's seeing and making it feel a lot more interactive. I think that was really nicely handled. It made for some really impressive visuals as well. I think that the movie overall, in that sense, is a very good time. Where I think the movie does suffer a bit is when it comes to some of its tonal clashes, especially when it comes to what's led to this date happening, especially in the case of Violet. I'm not giving too much away, I hope, but the circumstances that have led to this date, they're not they're not fun circumstances. There's no happy story over there, not really. And so to have that be the thing that leads us into this, and then having a very funny movie at times in the process, like you'll have the restaurant staff come up, particularly one of the waiters who is with them, and have a joke or, have some laughs. It sometimes does take away from how all of this has sort of come together. But it does sort of land it regardless, because at one point of time they do sort of center it back to that in a very effective way, and in a way that I actually quite liked. But because it happens pretty often, it does sometimes make the movie a little wobbly. Eventually, when you get to the final act as well, and you start to find out about what's happening and who exactly is behind all of this, it does speed run things to the ending. It's a very quick conclusion to things. Granted, it's a very fast-paced movie, so there is that, but that is something that I did feel. But overall, still a very good time with Drop. I do recommend checking it out and going to see it in theaters if you get the chance to. I'm guessing at the time that I'm doing this video, many of you probably already have, because the movie came out yesterday. So it's been running in theaters for a bit, but if you haven't seen it, definitely go take a look. And I'm going to give Drop a 7.5 out of 10. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very, very soon. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe. And I'll see you guys at the movies.